A couple little things. First, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the Ontario Music Educators Association. They had to make a very difficult decision this week in canceling the physical conference that was supposed to happen in November. And we all know how much work and effort that goes into that. And so while we feel sad that it won't happen, they are moving towards some kind of online platform, and we really look forward to seeing how that all plays out. And I just want to extend a huge thanks as an affiliate of the OMEA for all the work that group is doing. So if you're on the call, anyone, and you're on that board, thank you so much. We really appreciate all your efforts, and we're in it together, folks. Second, watch for our 4th session. We'll be announcing that by the end of the week, so stay tuned. That's coming your way. It will take place again next Wednesday, so we'll have that to you as soon as we can. The third thing is the Ontario Band Association Board met on Saturday, and we have struck an advocacy working group who is working very, very hard this week. Andrea Kilbride, who's on the call, is chairing that particular group, and we have board members as well as general members who stepped up to support us in those efforts. And they will be sending out some resources to you very soon. So a huge thank you to those folks who are putting extra effort in right in the middle of report cards and end of term and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much. The last thing I'll say in terms of a little bit of housekeeping here is that we're creating a survey to send out to our members and participants of these sessions. So this is a bit of a prompt that once it comes out, it'd be great if we could hear from you. We'd like to know if you want more of these. We'd like to know if you would like these to be running through the summer. We'd like to know what you need and how we can support you. So we'll be in touch very soon with some of those questions, and it would be great. In the meantime, you can always use the chat feed here on Zoom, and if you have ideas, suggestions, anything you'd like to share, that is open. All right, so on to the main event for today. Angela Mantie is with us, and she's our board member. She is the director of our UTSC OBA Small Ensemble Festival portfolio. And I asked her if she would help provide a little bit of context to sort of help us switch gears from wherever we just were, coming into this space, and then heading into our facilitated small group sessions. And while I'm on that point, I just would like to say a huge thanks to the 8 co-facilitators who will be joining us in those sessions and leading those groups today. Thank you for your time and your effort. And we'll see you a little later in the session when you bring back to this full group a bit of a debrief. But for now, please let me introduce Dr. Angela Mantie. She is a wind, band, choral, and general music educator with 23 years experience working in Canada and the United States, teaching pre-K to 12 students in both public and independent schools within rural, urban, and suburban contexts. She has held music educational leadership positions in Mesa Public Schools in Arizona and Boston Public Schools as a pre-K 12 music content specialist, music educational coach and mentor, specialist department head, and was the Boston program director for Arts Turnaround Schools, President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities led by Michelle Obama. Angela was a guest lecturer for music education classes at Boston University and Arizona State University, and most recently taught undergraduate candidates at Niagara University, Toronto campus. Her areas of expertise include beginning and developing wind band pedagogy, pre-K-12 music curriculum design and development, assessment, and culturally relevant sustainable teaching pedagogy and practices within concert band, choral, and general music classrooms. Her collaborations with organizations such as the Boston Philharmonic, Berklee College of Music, and EdVestors have been featured in case study reports such as the Arts Advantage, the Impact of Arts Education in Boston Public Schools. And I'm the one who's here, an experienced music teacher, a low-income school, and arts participation as a reform strategy. Alongside teaching full-time at Bayview Glen Independent School here in Toronto, Angela recently completed a Doctor of Education in Leadership and Innovation from Arizona State University, which examined persistence, engagement, and musical self-efficacy within beginning grade 6 concert band classes. She is also a current member of the Toronto Youth Wind Orchestra artistic staff, conductor of the Concert Wind Ensemble. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Angela Mantie.
Well, it's always so weird to hear that stuff. It makes you feel like you've lived a life and maybe, I don't know. So thank you, Lynn, for inviting me to open this meeting. I've spent a lot of time thinking about a lot of the stuff that I think that we're going to be delving into, both personally, as a teacher, as a researcher, as a graduate platform. But I want to first of all say, oh my gosh, teachers, congratulations. You have almost made it to the finish line of this year. Think of all of the things you have accomplished. Like just some of them, like honestly, you've moved all your programming, curriculum assessment to online platforms in a matter of days, right? You've learned how to utilize technology that you never thought existed and did it well. You've kept your students making music in a manner that you never expected them to be doing. Like who thought we would be teaching band via this platform, like honestly. And all the while, I think the big piece of it is, friends, that you have done this and put your own emotions and aside to make the impossible happen for your students, right? And honestly, I think we all need to be feeling really proud of our work and what we've been able to accomplish in like these crazy, crazy challenging times. I know for me personally and talking with colleagues, it has been hard work emotionally, like big time. Not just, taking care of our families and our loved ones and figuring all that out. But also looking at our schools and our kids and figuring out how to do this. It's emotionally taxing. It's been really tough. And I think I want to acknowledge that specifically and start off with that, because unlike our other colleagues, we're not just band teachers, we're musicians really, honestly, first. And we've been doing the music piece of it for so long, like back when we were little. So we are so invested in this deeply, way back from our childhood. And the thought of having to change something that we have been doing for so long is so scary. It really kind of is. We live it, we breathe it, and our identity is really in our work. And like I said, I've thought a lot about this, a lot recently, and I did give a significant amount of thought, this emotion piece that's tied into our work, especially when I was looking at some graduate work, when I was doing my graduate work. There's actually a term called for this. There's a term for this, the passion and the emotion that we feel behind it. It's actually called like pedagogical content knowledge. And it means the particular ways that teachers understand their subjects in order to instruct others. So the way that we have come to know our subject area and how we instruct it is deeply ingrained, not just in our university years, but way, 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 way back of our experiences in band, like from when we first started, and our way through high school, and then our way through university, and our way through as teachers doing it with our kids. And how we come to know to teach band, and how we've come to know this, and how our practices and our pedagogy is deep, and shifting away in any form of that. For me, I've personally experienced this in another context. It really shook my core, my teaching core, my personal core, and messed with me emotionally big time. And you know what? Research, this has been done too. It can really, when you're faced with these kind of like deep core challenges, especially in our practices, it's huge for us. And to consider, what I can't do band, like what do I do, and the shock and the fear behind it, and this and the grief that you kind of have to go through a little bit to consider other is really, really tough. And there's actually a psychological term for this, and I was looking at this a little bit in my graduate work when I was experiencing this when I first started, and it's actually this sense of cognitive dissonance when. And I just looked this up on a website today. It refers to a situation that involves conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors, and for kind of what we're doing right now, right? Because we're taking what we know to be true about teaching band and what has been working and the tradition of it, and it's being snapped in half and right in front of our eyes, and we have no control over that. And it produces a feeling of mental discomfort. It produces a feeling of really having to like grapple with your beliefs and behaviors, to how do you restore some kind of balance to know what to do. And when I went through that personally in a band program where I was brought into Mesa Public Schools to create, design, and implement, we called it the Innovative Schedule, a required band program that replaced all general music, I should say instrumental. I was brought in to create and design a program that replaced general music with instrumental music in grades 4, 5, and 6. And for me personally, and I'll speak to my experience of grappling with change, I had a really strong orchestra colleague, and we had to deal with how do we create an instrumental music program that's required, that replaces the general music experience, and keep kids engaged and wanting to do it. And we went in, we were like, hey, I know how to teach band. I've had success with it before. I've had kids go to festival. I've had kids go to music fest. I'm a model classroom and for the district. And my orchestra teacher was in the same boat, but we came to realize the context had changed, but we hadn't. So we were trying to do, and I'll speak to myself, band, how I knew to do band, but it was failing. Kids were not engaged. Kids didn't know how to read music. We had to share instruments. They couldn't take instruments home to practice. And I remember when we started to build this, and we were building it as we were doing it because we were brought in August and said, do it. Julie and I, it was about Christmas where we literally had a PD session and broke down emotionally because we were feeling we were failing our kids. We were feeling we were making our kids music. What we knew was true in our hearts, or our emotion piece of it, to teach band and orchestra, it wasn't working. So we were in a bad way personally for a while, kind of sort of like where we kind of, some of us might feel right now, but we kind of sort of had to mourn the loss of our previous successes a tiny little bit and look at the kids and seeing the context that we now had to teach in, and what were we going to do with this, kind of sort of like the unknown that we're facing right now, right? Will I have access to my kids? Will it be in school? Will they have instruments? Is it virtual? Is it not virtual? How do we have to kind of sort of, in my situation, I had to kind of go, okay, so what is this going to look like for kids? How can we keep making them make music, and how can we make something kind of happen? So like now what? Like, what do we do? I honestly don't know the answer. I'm not saying that, but I think what's important to acknowledge is the emotional toll this is taking on us as music educators, especially as band teachers, because we have to kind of sort of, it's not that we're abandoning and it's not that we're replacing, but we kind of sort of have to put that love that we have and reshaping it is pain. It was painful for me, and I think it might be painful for others, and acknowledging that we kind of sort of have to mourn a little bit for how we taught band. We will get there again, but for right now, we just have to kind of sort of, say the emotion's okay. We're all feeling it. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel that we want this, but it's just going to look different. And I think for the session now, I'm excited for these sessions because we can work together as a group to start putting things together that make sense for us. And I'm not suggesting that we're never going to get back to what we love in terms of like full ensembles and those kinds of things. But for right now, it's hard to just even go there, just because we're so invested long term since we were kiddos in what band is, what we know it to be, but how we have to kind of sort of change. Wow. Anyway, so that kind of went deep, sorry, Lynn. But I think it's important, and again, thinking of my experience, and my experience is not your experience, my experience is not the experience of the person down the way, but I know when I've talked to music educators in Canada and the US, when your context is not what you think it's going to be, it's very scary and it's very emotionally painful. So I think that piece is, you know, we're almost through the end of the year. It's kind of important to talk about that piece and just acknowledge that, so that we can kind of sort of work together past that painful sadness that we have, that we may not be doing things the way that we know how, to get to a place, maybe everybody's in different places, to consider a different way that we could do things. And actually maybe the way that we're doing things temporarily could be super impactful for our ensembles. Like, for instance, think of the power of focusing on musicianship with your ensembles. So for example, chamber group, you're responsible for yourself. That kind of like musicianship responsibility, one could maybe even go deeper. I don't know.
So
And
this is
maybe,
our, so Angela, this is our chance now, right?
right, this is our
To
chance.
actually get into those things and get excited about taking a look at what actually is possible. Acknowledging where we are, acknowledging how we're feeling, but taking this moment to say, hey, we're going to move this forward. We're going to do awesome things for our students. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be energetic. It might look a little different, but between all of us in these spaces now, we have the opportunity to come up with and really share some really cool insights, what we've learned over the last few months, and really catapult us forward into the future. So we've got these ideas of creativity, flexibility, adaptability, and those are the themes that we really need to run with as we move forward. So thanks, Angela. I'm just cognizant of time, so we're going to move this on, but thank you for setting this up. Awesome, awesome. So we have breakout rooms, and this is all going to be set up at random. So we've not appointed anybody except for our facilitators into the 4 sessions. They have some guiding principles and documents that are going to take you through the conversation, and we're going to set an hour to do this. Angela Tran is on the line. She's going to give us a 10-minute remaining, and then a 3-minute remaining just to get the stuff done. So hopefully the next hour is going to be really, really invigorating in sharing these ideas and moving us forward as we look to the fall. So Angela, hit it.